This is an advertisement. Hi, welcome to Ask the Lawyer. I'm your host of Ask the Lawyer, Patty Grabeau. Are you a veteran? Are you a widowed spouse of a veteran? Do you know a veteran who could use help for paying medical expenses like in-home care, assisted living care, nursing home care? Today's show will give you insight into who is eligible and how to qualify for the little-known Veterans Pension Benefit, commonly referred to as aid in attendance. With us is attorney Richard M. Barron, a decorated and dedicated veteran, when we come back on Ask the Lawyer.
Welcome to this edition of Ask the Lawyer. Ask the Lawyer is informative and exciting. Ask the Lawyer interviews authors, speakers, and entrepreneurs in all areas of business, so you become a much more informed consumer.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Patty Grabeau. As our population ages, we face new challenges in how to provide, plan, and take care of our loved ones and ourselves. Joining us today is elder law attorney Richard M. Barron, who founded the Barron Law Firm in 1991. Richard received his Bachelor of Business Administration from Southern Methodist University and his law degree from Texas Tech University School of Law. Richard is a member of the State Bar of Texas and has been licensed to practice in Texas since 1981. He's also a member of the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys and Life Care Planning Law Firms Association. And he's an accredited attorney with the Department of Veterans Affairs. He provides community education workshops on estate and life care planning, Medicaid and veterans benefits, and qualifications, assets protection planning, and elder care needs. Richard works exclusively in Medicaid, veterans, and life care planning to assist families across Texas who need help in obtaining those benefits for the care and their loved ones. He's a veteran of the Vietnam War. While in the Army, he served as warrant officer and a Cobra helicopter aircraft commander. During his service, Richard received 28 air medals: the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Air Medal for Valor, the Bronze Star, a Purple Heart, and the Vietnamese Cross for Gallantry. He also holds a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo. It's an absolute honor to have you on our show today. I personally would like to thank you for your service to our country.
Well, thank you, Patty. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining us. It's really no surprise that with your heroic background that you bring great compassion as well as knowledge to your clients and their needs. What's your greatest reward in working in this area of law?
Well, obviously, as a veteran myself, assisting other veterans obtain a benefit that is fairly well been kept a secret is very rewarding, because
Sure.
there are a lot of veterans out there, or spouses of veterans, that need help as they age with their medical expenses, and that's what this benefit is designed to do.
And what exactly is the Veterans Aid and Attendance Pension Benefit?
Well, aid in attendance is what it is commonly referred to. However, the benefit itself is called pension. Aid in attendance is simply a rating, the highest rating under pension. So a lot of times when someone calls into the Veterans Administration asking for the aid in attendance benefit, sometimes they're simply told there isn't an aid in attendance benefit.
Really?
So it's something that you just have to be aware of. But what the benefit does is it provides wartime veterans with help in medical expenses.
Totally, just medical expenses. That's incredible. That's wonderful, though. And how does one become eligible?
Well, as I said, they need to have been a wartime veteran.
Okay.
They need to have served at least 90 consecutive days during a period of war, all of which are set out in the regulations, at least one day of which was during one of those periods. And they're World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the Gulf War. They needed to be at least honorably discharged, or at least not a dishonorable discharge. And then they need to have certain income and asset qualifications as well. In addition to the veteran, the single surviving spouse of the veteran is also qualified for benefits under this program as well.
You'd think everyone would know about this when they return. You really would think that they would. I mean, does a veteran have to be in combat or injured in active duty at all?
Not with this particular benefit under the VA. There are no requirements that the veteran actually serve in actual combat, nor is there any requirement that the veteran receive some sort of service-connected injury.
And what about income limitation for veterans? Are there any limitations?
Yes, there are. And this is where we get into a little bit of VA speak or VA talk.
Okay.
Because there's a whole set of language when you deal with the Veterans Administration. And the first that the veteran needs to understand is what they call MAP-R. And that's just the maximum allowable pension rate. And it varies depending upon whether or not the veteran is married, if it's a single veteran, or a spouse of a veteran, a single surviving spouse of a veteran. And what usually happens is that if the veteran calls into the VA to inquire about their eligibility, sometimes the first question that they're asked is how much do they make? What is the gross family income? And many times it's in excess of this MAP-R, this maximum allowable pension rate, and they will be simply told that they don't qualify.
Oh my goodness.
But there's other things that can qualify them for this benefit.
Okay, and can they offset the income in any way?
Yes, and that's what I was getting at, is that there are what they call uncompensated medical expenses. What are these? These are anything really out of your pocket for health insurance, such as your Part B on your Medicare, your supplemental insurance to cover what Medicare doesn't pay. If you have long-term care insurance, that is another medical expense that can be deducted, as well as prescription drugs. Anything that you pay out of your pocket to have someone care for you, whether it's in your home, with an assisted living or nursing home, can be a offset to your income in order to get you qualified for the benefit. And this is really the part that is kept most secret.
Okay, and what about asset limitations? Are there any asset limitations for veterans?
Yeah, generally speaking, $80,000 has always been considered the maximum amount of assets that a veteran can have. However, there's nothing written in the veterans regulations with regards to this. It could be substantially less than that, and it depends upon the age of the veteran, his condition, in other words, how much medical expenses he has, and his life expectancy will all be used to determine in a subjective way with the Veterans Administration how much assets they will allow that veteran to keep.
Well, I can't imagine someone trying to do this on their own. I mean, they really need guidance with someone who knows, such as yourself, who knows all the provisions and where to look and how to go around things to get the maximum pension that they can receive. And how does one start? What does the application process look like for a pension benefit?
Well, when we get, that's the first question. It really is driven by the income of the veteran. So what we really want to know is what the gross family income is going to be. In other words, from all sources, whether it's from retirement income, Social Security income, or investment income. And that's family income, and it's gross income. From there, what we're going to want to establish is those uncompensated medical expenses. What we're trying to do is to get their IVAP, again, VA talk, income for VA purposes. We subtract the uncompensated medical expenses from their gross income to arrive at a figure, and if that figure is below that MAP-R, that maximum allowable pension rate, then yes, they would be within limits that would allow them to receive this monthly benefit. Really what we're trying to do is get them down below zero, and that way they will maximize their benefit.
Now, how can someone get in touch with you?
They can always get in touch with us at our 800 number, 800-939-9093, our website, texaselderlawadttorney.com, or we have two offices. We have a Texoma office located at 209 East Main Street, Whitesboro, Texas, and I have a Metroplex office, which is by appointment only, and it is located at 1400 Preston Road, Suite 400, Plano, Texas.
Fantastic. Fantastic, all the knowledge you're imparting today for our veterans. We'll continue our discussion with Richard Barron when we come back. Welcome back. Joining us today is Richard Barron, elder law attorney who also specializes in helping veterans and their spouses obtain the financial assistance to which they are entitled. Are all veterans' assets counted, even their spouses' incomes?
Yes, basically speaking, all the assets are counted. Now, there are some exempt assets, primarily their home, all of the contents of their home. That is not counted for the veterans' purposes, and their automobiles are not counted. But virtually everything else is considered an available resource that would be used to see whether or not they would be eligible for this benefit.
Okay, and are there any assets that could cause one to be disqualified?
Generally speaking, anything that exceeds the $80,000 limit is going to cause them to become disqualified. There have been some cases where you could have more than that, but they're very rare. And more than likely, it's going to be less than $80,000. So they have to be careful with regard to that $80,000 maximum limit. There is nothing written in the veterans regulations as to what amount will be allowed.
What about gifting? Could they give gifts to reduce their assets?
Yeah, as opposed to Medicaid, where if you make a gift, they will be penalized.
Right.
In veterans planning, we can gift away or retitle assets in someone else's name in order to reduce their asset level to a point where we think they would be able to qualify, and there is no penalty for that because veterans is forward-looking. So anything that is done before the application, and it does need to be done before the application is filed, will not be counted as part of their estate that would determine whether or not they get qualified or not.
That's great, because with Medicaid, there's that look-back period,
yes,
correct?
There is. There's a look-back and a penalty associated with a gift that is done in Medicaid. Now, the little trap here is that even though it's not counted for veterans, if they need Medicaid benefits later on, it is still considered a gift for Medicaid.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So it gets really, really layered and complicated.
Yes, it can.
Wow. And so when we look at the absolute bottom line, how much will the pensions provide in a monthly income for a veteran?
Okay, Patty, what we need to do is look at the various categories. First of all, there's base pension. Okay, that's what they call low income. Then there is a rating. The first rating is housebound, and the highest rating is aid in attendance. Okay. Now, aid in attendance simply means that you need the aid in attendance of someone else to help you with your daily activities of living. So once we get it categorized, and obviously we're trying to get the highest rating, then we have to find out whether or not it's for a veteran who is married, a single veteran, or the spouse of a veteran. So let me just go with the highest available amounts under each category and each rating. So we're going to have a married veteran with aid in attendance. That monthly benefit approaches $1,950 a month. If it's a single veteran, it's about $1,650 a month, and the sole surviving spouse, and they cannot have remarried, but as long as they haven't remarried, their benefit is $1,050 a month.
Wow. And how long does it take for someone to really see the benefit, see the money?
Well, anybody who's been a part of the military or knows the military is familiar with this phrase. It's hurry up and wait. Because this takes a considerable amount of time, usually around 6 months. Could be a little bit less than that, most likely it's more than that. However, once they are approved for this benefit, the veterans will then backdate their award to the first day of the month following the month in which they filed the application and pay them for that period of time.
And they wouldn't know to do this on their own?
Not necessarily. That's correct. We can lock in dates with what they call a filing with the veterans that says that we're going to apply for benefits. We just haven't got a chance to file the application yet. So what we're trying to do is lock in the first available date. Now,
there are many different ways to use the pension to pay for care. Can we talk about some of those, please?
Yes. First of all, the benefit is paid to the veteran, just like Social Security. Directly. It's not paid to a provider. So they can use it however they choose. Okay. However, when you're in the home, you can have, the difficulty there is getting your uncompensated medical expenses. However, if there is a professional caretaker, or even in some cases, an unlicensed caretaker, those expenses can be used to offset their income. So we have at-home services in which we can get the veteran qualified before they move on to an assisted living or nursing home. This helps keep them independent as long as possible in a place they want to be, in their home. Okay, and now what we do is we have to have a doctor certification saying that they are in need of this aid and attendance. If we do that, we can have one of their children actually be a care coordinator, and those monies paid to that child can be a unreimbursed medical expense in order to get them up to the maximum benefit that they're entitled to.
So a care coordinator is someone who takes care of the person at home?
Or monitors their care.
Okay.
They can have someone else come in. They don't necessarily have to be the one that's providing the care. As long as we have the rating of aid and attendance, it can be an unlicensed provider doing that, making sure that the veteran or the veteran's spouse is receiving the care that they need, or the supervision from harm.
Okay, and then so the process to pay a person for care at home goes through that caregiver then?
That's correct. Or a portion of the money is used to pay them. In other words, when the veteran gets the money from the aid and attendance or from the pension benefit, they will actually write a check to that person for whatever is agreed upon. So they're adding to their uncompensated medical expenses.
Now, will this pension pay for assisted living?
Yes, no matter where the veteran is, it will pay or at least contribute to that cost. When they're in assisted living, as long as we have a doctor certification that they need to be there, then they will include the entire assisted living as an uncompensated medical expense, and in most cases we will be able to maximize the benefit for them because they will be under the aid and attendance rating.
Okay, and then nursing homes as well?
Nursing home, yes. In fact, if a veteran's in a nursing home, they're automatically qualified for aid and attendance. The problem when they're in the nursing home is that the cost usually far exceeds the veteran's income plus the benefit that they're receiving from this pension benefit. So in those cases, it's usually better to get or apply for Medicaid. But until they qualify, it certainly can be used to offset those nursing home costs.
That's great. Now, it really seems very consuming and very, very complicated. When can a family try to put all of this together and submit a claim without help? Usually
when we have someone come in that has very little or no assets at all, very little income, or they have sufficient medical expenses to offset their income, and usually they're already in a nursing home or in a assisted living facility. In most cases, that can be prosecuted. In other words, the application filed with the veterans, and the family probably could handle that themselves.
Okay, but when should a family use an accredited veterans attorney such as yourself? And is there a specific formula as to knowing when that you should come to someone like yourself?
Usually what we do when we get involved with veterans planning is the planning stage. In other words, they're not qualified for the benefit because their assets are in excess of the $80,000. Their income hasn't been offset by their uncompensated medical expenses, or a lot of times they're just simply at home. They're not in a nursing home or assisted living facility. And they need additional estate planning. They need gift counseling. In other words, what we need to do is show them how we can gift away assets and qualify them for this benefit. So when it comes into those kinds of areas, then yes, they should seek out a qualified veterans attorney.
And the gifting is really, really key, especially as I can see it, because they can, before they apply, give away certain assets without getting penalized.
That's correct. They can give away the assets, not be penalized, and qualify for the benefit. And many times they're giving them to their children, these types of assets. And so they're kind of holding them in reserve. It's not in the veteran's name. Now, I would add that if the house, I remember I said that the house is exempt.
Right.
The other time that they might need some help is if they plan on selling the house. The house needs to either be sold before they apply, because if they sell it after they have acquired the benefit or made application, that could remove them from this benefit for a period of up to 1 year. In other words, the sale of that house.
The sale of the house, and of course that also would affect their Medicaid if they were applying for
That's
Medicaid
correct.
as well.
They're taking an exempt asset and turning it into a countable resource.
Wow. How can people get in touch with you?
Again, Patty, they always can call our toll-free number, 1-800-939-9093. We have a website, it's texaselderlaw.attorney.com, and at either place we have a publication that they can find out additional information, and it's the Consumer's Guide to Veterans Planning. If that doesn't answer all their questions, they can certainly get a hold of us. We have offices, 2 offices. One, our Texoma office is at 209 East Main Street, Whitesboro, Texas, and our Metroplex office, which is by appointment only, is at 1400 Preston Road, Plano, Texas.
A lot of options for people to get a hold of you.
Okay.
Stay tuned. Ask the Lawyer. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're in conversation with Richard Barron discussing Veterans Aid and Attendance Pension benefits. Right before the break, we were talking about qualifications and what people needed to do in order to be qualified to receive the pensions. What age does someone need to be in order to qualify?
Yeah, I kind of omitted that at the beginning, Patty. Really, in order to qualify for this pension, the veteran needs to be at least 65 years of age or older, or have a 100% disability. Now, as far as the single surviving spouse, there is no age requirement for that person.
Okay. And what does the VA look for when someone's filling out an application?
You know, when we were talking about gifting, we were talking about that they don't include those gifts, and it's because the veterans is forward-looking. They're going to take you're going to estimate to them what the next 12 months income and what the next 12 months of uncompensated medical expenses are going to be. That is why the gift does not come into play, because they're only looking at those assets during that time period, and the time period begins on the first day of the month following the month in which the application is filed. So they're looking forward 12 months income, 12 months medical expenses. The other thing is the veterans is going to require them to file an annual review, and what they're going to be doing there is to justify those income and expense estimates that they made on their application every year.
Wow.
So they're going to have to keep all of their receipts, all of the costs that they incurred for their medical expenses, so they can justify the award that was given to them, because if they don't, if they overestimated it as far as their medical expenses or underestimated their income, the veterans can ask for their money back.
Oh my goodness. But this is something that your firm works with them through,
yes, we
correct?
usually will stick with a veteran, many of our clients, for a year or more, because we do want to help them go through that process, not only the application process, which is time consuming in and of itself, but also that annual review, because they need to know what that looks like.
Right.
Because not only do they have to tell them what just occurred, but what the veterans won't tell you is you need to file another statement in anticipation of the next 12 months as well.
Oh my goodness.
So you have to file 2 of them at that time.
So you're basically teaching people how to
then
process
they see
their
the
lives.
Process, yes, and then they can take it
Then
off.
they can go forward. What are some of the other advantages if someone qualifies for aid and attendance?
Just briefly, once they qualify for this benefit, they can enter into the Veterans Health Care System. And one of the primary benefits there would be prescription drugs. They can request from the veterans to fulfill their prescription drug needs at a much lower cost, sometimes only $8 or $9 a month. The other thing they are entitled to, and every veteran really is entitled to this as well, is that in the state of Texas there are veterans nursing homes throughout the state of Texas. And the veteran, as well as his spouse, is able to go to these nursing homes at a much reduced cost.
That's
and I have
great.
had clients take advantage of it, and it's literally close to 50% less than what they would pay privately somewhere else. That is a huge advantage,
Certainly
especially
is.
when you know that the aid and attendance pension benefit is going to come into play, and more than likely will pay for that nursing home cost.
That's terrific. And when someone's looking for an attorney to work with, how do they know if someone's accredited?
They can always go to the Veterans website. It's www.va.gov. They can go in there, and there is a listing of all accredited agents, which are non-attorneys, and all accredited attorneys. There is a listing by name in there, and they can find out for sure. And only accredited agents or accredited attorneys can prosecute claims on their behalf, as well as organizations such as the Veterans, VFW, American Legion, or in Texas there are veteran service offices in almost every county.
Okay, now what sort of fees are incurred in regards to filling out an application, and who can pay for that?
Actually, no fees whatsoever can be charged to the veteran.
That's
nothing.
Great.
For either filing the claim or following up on the claim. In addition to that, if you are a third-party beneficiary and you would like to pay for that veteran's claim to be filed, that is also prohibited. That means a nursing home or assisted living facility cannot pay someone else to file the claim on behalf of the veteran so that the veteran gets money in order to pay for their assisted living costs or nursing home costs.
Great, great information. Now you lecture and are guest speaker in Dallas and Fort Worth and the Metroplex, as well as the Texarkana areas, and you also give seminars. Can you share with us your topics?
Yes, we give seminars throughout the Metroplex, throughout the Texarkana area, on a variety of different subjects: veterans benefits, Medicaid benefits, and they can simply go online. And by the way, this is for the general public as well as the healthcare providers or senior providers can find out from these seminars a little bit more with regard to these benefits. But we have these listed on our website, TexasElderLawAttorney.com, so they can check on a periodic basis to find out the dates, times, and locations of these seminars or workshops. And by the way, Patty, just interrupt you, they are free of charge. We charge nothing for these workshops or seminars. They are completely cost-free.
That is wonderful. So it's the veterans get a break in regards to not being charged, and you're giving seminars to impart your knowledge once again and let them know how they can possibly obtain benefits if they are eligible. And you also you've co-authored many books, The Consumer's Guide for Veterans Benefits for Veterans or Their Widow. Now, how can people get a hold of that?
Again, they can call our 800 number, 800-939-9093. Go to our website. They can fill out a form there and submit it to us, and we'll be more than happy to send it to them. Not only do we have that veterans booklet, we have other booklets on caregiving, on life care planning, on Medicaid benefits, on Alzheimer's. All of them are free of charge as part of our community service to educate people with regards to what's available and how they can qualify for them.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And once again, thank you so much for the service that you've given to our country.
You're certainly welcome, Patty. It was a pleasure to be here.
As it was for us. That's it for this edition of Ask the Lawyer. I'm Patty Grabeau. We salute all our veterans and say thank you for your service to our country. We thank you, our audience, for choosing us as your go-to resource for information concerning only the most innovative topics today.